Hello, fam. I'm back again. So, in this episode, we are going to focus on the database table creation. Let's just say the DDL. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is ensure that before we can get started, kindly ensure that your Apache and MySQL are running. So, what I'm going to do here is on MySQL, I'm going to click admin. Yep. So it's loading. Yeah. So and then what I'm going to do here is on database here. So this is a collection of this is just an interface of PHP my admin, which is a database management system, which is commonly used when you're dealing with MySQL. Okay, so let's create a new database. Let's create a new database. I'm going to name this one tutorial, and then when you're done, you click create. Okay, so uh, kindly ensure that the tutorial is highlighted. When it's highlighted, it becomes like dark gray. Okay, so there are two ways of creating your database. You can do it through the UI or from the SQL. So when you do it from the UI, that's something which is very, very simple. You just have to specify to say, okay, the database name for this one is users. Uh, yep, and then the number of columns. Let's say we have first name, last name, email, and gender. So those accounts to four columns. So you click no. This we also need to ensure that you have ID. We need to ensure that you have ID as one of it. So I click create. So this ID is a primary key. This ID is a primary key. So we need to ensure that we give it a length of values. Let's just say 11. Let's just say 11, and then default. No, so on auto increment, ensure that you check it. So when you check auto increment or AI, this simply means that whenever some data is inserted into this table, it will be increasing by value. What that simply means is that let's just say we have a record, we have one record, and then that record is going to contain ID1. So when another one comes, it's going to increase to 2. When the third one comes, it will increase to 3, and so on and so forth. So here we can just say, and here on another field, this has to be first name. And then first name is a string, so we just have to choose varchar. So and then the length, the values. So let's say like what do you okay, let's just give it 255 as the length. I'm pretty sure that there's no name which can exceed the 255 characters. And then here we have last name. Okay, so here we have varchar, and then we're going to give it 255. Here we have gender. Gender, yeah, for gender, let's just give it 50 as the character length. Yeah, so we also, okay, so, and lastly, what should be, no, email here, there has to be email. So email, let's give it also 255, of which there's no email which can exceed up to 255 unless otherwise. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have here, the options that we have. So here we have name. Here, this is where specify a column. So a column, or let's just say a field, describes the type of data that you'd want uh, to, to be inserting, or what the type of data that you want it to contain. So here, if we say ID, so ID, since ID is a number, we just gave it int, and then with the values of 11. So here we have type. Type, this is a data type of the field of the column. So I do give it a data type int, since it will throughout be containing numbers. So the length we gave it 11, and then here by default, here on default, let's say like in case, so here let's say in a case whereby uh but how can I say, what can I say, like if this field is not inserted, or let's say if it's left blank, what would you want to put there? So you just have, if you want, you can just say now. When we say it's now, it means that field can be left blank, but in our case, there's in our database we need ID, otherwise we're going to have a surrogate. Okay, coloration, these ones you just have, you can, so here on now, you can mark this one if you want it to, um, if you want it to like contain no data, or if you want it to be skipped. So here on here you can just say, is it a primary key on index? Is it a primary key? If it is, then you select primary key. If it's unique, if it's full text partial. So for now, since this one is a primary key, so a primary key in our database is that field which uniquely differentiates our rows or records. Okay, so here we have auto increments, which is AI, and then on comments can skip this, and then we have first name, last name, even these, they will follow the same procedure. Okay, so this is how we do it. This is how we can create our database through the user interface. So let's say maybe you want to insert another field which is called password. So from the user interface, you can, here it's written table name, add. On add, let's say if you want to add 3 columns, you just have to type in 3. But for now, since I just want to add one, so I just type in add and then columns go. So another field to be created here. So let's just say give it password, and then since password can be, let's say maybe want to be encrypting it, so let's just be storing it in, let's give it 300 so that the hash values can be fit in. Okay, and then what do we have to do? We save. Tada, and then we have created our first database table or our first database model. Okay, so if you want to check, if you want to check the tables that we have, you just have to click data on database name. Okay, so these are our tables here. These are our tables. So this is how we create our database tables from our PHP my admin user interface. So in the next part, I'm going to show you how we can achieve what I'm from doing through just using SQL codes. And that's all I had for this episode. See you in the next episode. Cheers.